opening sequence in the film was based on the North Hollywood shootout.
It was a horrific moment in LA history.
Clark wanted to make it as real as possible.
There were really no rules. It was just to try to create terrifying aspects of a very serious bank robbery.
It was really important to set the tone for the movie, to say, okay, this is a reality-based movie. This is based on a real event.
I was there the moment we started filming, and the movie really started off with a bang.
In terms of the planning of the shootout, we tried to keep true to what had actually happened to these guys. Black and whites pulled up on the scene, and they were immediately outgunned. And they called for backup, and as the poster says, even the cops call 911. It's not a PG-13 world they work in.
Clark wanted to kind of make it really gritty, kind of down and dirty, as he liked to call it. We overcranked camera speeds a lot of the time with the helicopters, which slows their rotors down. You know, he wanted to make it look like it was being shot by a news crew, basically. Like it was almost like news footage. So when you're outside, you get that, you know, herky-jerky camera, you know, extreme zoom in, zoom outs. Then inside, when you're with the robbers and our two SWAT guys coming in, it's more of the classical filmmaking where, you know, it's not that. And he wanted those two different extremes.
Everything was mixed and matched. I had ground, surface-to-surface cameras, air-to-air, air-to-ground, so there's a great variety.
It was all a choreographed kind of orchestrated mayhem.
Basically, our plan of attack was on Saturday and Sunday to do all the exterior work, to have full closure of the streets, all the low-flying helicopters. We couldn't do that during the week. From there, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the plan was to start with the Colin and Jeremy coming in from the roof and trying to do that as much as in sequence as possible.
And by doing that, we were able to film this sequence in order, start to finish, just to keep the continuity of it.
We had like 50 setups our first day. Yeah. Put the fear of God in that crew.
It was clear we were going to have to find an abandoned bank or an abandoned building that looked like a bank, because any real bank will not let you film there, number one, let alone, you know, do gunfire and helicopters flying low. And we ended up in Lincoln Heights, which is like on North Broadway, just over the LA River, kind of below Pasadena. It was a perfect location for us, really.
They were really happy to have us filming in their neighborhood. There's not a lot of filming goes on over there.
I would say 2 weeks before shooting, basically all our focus went to the bank. Originally, it wasn't going to be the first thing we were going to shoot, because they were going to blow it up eventually. We had to shoot it first. And actually, I'm very glad we did, because you could really prep it.
All right, let's do another rehearsal, please.
And we could shoot it up, put squib hits wherever we wanted, basically do whatever we wanted to it. And I tell you, that's a rare thing to have.
All right, stand by.
The planning of that, because it was the first thing we did, was more elaborate. We actually got to go there and rehearse and walk it through.
We knew exactly where every car was going to be, where every person was going to be, and where every helicopter was going to be.
We're doing rehearsal with everything. All right,
We were very lucky to find it and very happy with the way it turned out.
The opening sequence is the first time we established the SWAT vehicle.
The SWAT van in the TV show was like an old bread truck. Even as a little kid, I remember looking at this, look at that truck. Who is driving that thing around? But this SWAT truck is the mother of all SWAT trucks.
It was good and bad, the SWAT vehicle. It looked great, and it was a really cool design. It's great, but had a lot of mechanical problems because it's not the SWAT vehicle that they use. We specifically designed it for our movie to make it look cool.
Took a brand new fire truck and rebuilt it. And so it's this big high-tech truck with the stuff that they would like to have.
I guess the big logistic problem we had was flying helicopters at a low level.
Flying like a military helicopter below 200 feet in a populated area is not normally done. We had to get over 500 signatures from neighbors and businesses in order to do what we did there.
My perspective of Los Angeles, being from New York, is some camera angle from way above, looking down at some catastrophic event or some car chase. And so I mastered from above a lot, So a lot of the big wide shots were from the helicopter. So it's pretty elaborate up there. It's a pretty big dance in the air.
Is that the way it goes? Yeah, we'll have to get maybe Randy or Steve here for
Another part of my job as an AD is safety, guns, and all that. And Mike Papik, our weapons guy, who's fantastic.
Prior to filming, we spent a week with the entire cast where everybody got to shoot each individual weapon. They shot the M4, their handguns, the shotguns, the MP5s. They all shot them all.
It was important to me that if we're going to portray these guys, I want them to be as real as they can. You know, being an actor myself, it's always important to me that the behavior is bang on.
Now, I want you to come to low ready for me. Pop up in the position. Bam. There you go. We will work with each individual actor for their stance, their shooting positions, you know, how they should be holding the gun and all that kind of stuff. So they look like they know what they're doing with the weapons.
Our actors really worked hard to get that training up so they looked the part.
The wardrobe in the film, as far as the SWAT clothing is concerned, is identical to the clothing worn by the real SWAT officers. In fact, I think the actors gained an appreciation for how it felt to have to wear all the clothing.
That stuff that they wear keeps them alive. It's also hot and heavy. It's like 70 pounds.
They really got into it, and I think they really gained an appreciation for not only the role they were going to be playing, but for the real SWAT officers as well. These guys all did a great job, from the weapons and the wardrobe, and all of it was very well done.
I think initially my goal editorially was to kind of reach out and grab the audience by the throat and say, don't go out for popcorn. Sit down and stay in your seat, because what you're about to see is going to be really compelling.
All the officers are pinned down by automatic gunfire.
What Michael Tronick had done is gotten the actual police calls during that event, and that set the tone for the intro of the film. That was then transcribed and reperformed by actors.
I wanted a visceral reaction. There's no way you can hide the terror of a dispatcher realizing that there are guys with AK-47s shooting at police officers who are terribly outmanned.
I think the way Clark shot it and the way Michael put it together, there was a lot of tension in that opening sequence.
It was editorially a very challenging sequence because of all the different formats and the tremendous amount of footage, and still tell a story, because that's when our heroes are introduced.
I kind of like to mix it up when I shoot. Whatever's fitting for the scene.
So in the midst of creating this very gritty documentary feel, we've still got major motion picture movie stars that are being introduced into the story.
The point of this movie was, these guys have to make a life and death decision, and a decision was made in that bank that impacted the rest of the movie. So it was really important that we told the story as accurately as we could.
SWAT, the opening sequence, the whole movie, I'm extremely proud of it.
The pace of this picture probably aged me a couple of years in 1 year.
What I saw was everything Clark had wanted it to be.
SWAT was really important in that scenario, so it seemed the perfect opportunity to talk about what those guys are thrust into every day.